We're getting ready to bring on my guest here. His name is John Gentry. Now, John Gentry is first of all, one of our listeners here on Live from America actually reached out to me and asked me if I would bring him on the show. I said, yeah, sure, I'll bring anybody on the show. What are we bringing him on for? What are we bringing him on here to talk about? And actually, what it comes down to is he's another American standing up, deciding to take some matters into his own hands and deciding to fight for what is right here in America. Now, great thing, I got to talk to him before the show today, and some of the things he's done is actually pretty incredible. He's running for governor in Tennessee, and I'll let him tell you exactly some of the research he's done, some of the ways that you can stand up. He's figured out some rights that we have as an American that we've just lost, that the establishment has pushed down into that dirty swamp so that you and I don't know how to fight. Okay? So I reached out to him. We had a nice conversation. I said, you know what? You're an American. You are standing up for your rights, regardless of Republican, regardless of Democrat. You're standing up for your rights. You're doing what you can do in Tennessee. He is going to be running for governor. Now, right now, they have a Republican governor in Bill Lee. Now, because I'm not from Tennessee, I don't know a lot about Bill Lee. However, I do work with the Tennessee Freedom Force. I am going to be doing some stuff with them in the future. They're great people. They fight hard down there. And I actually got to tell Mr. John Gentry, who's coming on here in a second, about the Tennessee Freedom Force. And my hope is that he gets together with them and together they work hard to bring rights back to the state of Tennessee and ultimately back to the people of Tennessee. So I'm going to bring him on right now. Mr. John Gentry, sir, how are you? Welcome to Live from America.
Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for having me on here. I'm doing great. Working hard here in Tennessee. My work is about restoring the cornerstone right of the people and restoring the voice and power that's inherent in the people. The First Amendment, everybody knows freedom of speech and freedom of religion. And it says right to petition for redress of grievance. If you ask any person out there, what is the right to petition for redress of grievance and how do you exercise that right? Nobody knows. Nobody understands how to exercise this right. The process, historically, these were common and frequent back in the 1800s. This is the cornerstone right. Everything else in this republic, all of our rights flowed from the right of petition. Government didn't just say, we're going to let you bear arms, we're going to give you a right of free speech. All of that came from the right of petition. So here's how it works. You get a group of people together that have a common interest. Let's say term limits, 98% of us. We get 98% of the people to sign a remonstrance that's saying that we want term limits, and exactly we want 2 term limits. You hand that to a member of the House, and they file it with the clerk of the House. And from the House, it gets assigned to committee. The committee deliberates, and it goes back to the House for floor. This is our most powerful constitutional right. It is our voice and power in government. It is essential. It is the foundation of our constitutional republic.
John, so right now, as it stands, you have subcommittees. Somebody puts a vote to the, somebody wants to say put a bill out on the floor to vote. But in order to do that, it got to go to a committee, and then it's got to go to a subcommittee. They got to vote on it, and then they got to push it to the House floor in Tennessee. But what you're saying is that citizens, regular everyday citizens, have the right, per the Constitution, to bypass that committee, subcommittee, and go right to the House floor. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So let's say you get a group of citizens and you go to a legislator and you say, hey, we think this would be a good idea, this bill. And so they present it. It goes to the first subcommittee and they kill it. And you're done at that point. This is the Tennessee House Rules of Order. Our legislative houses have rules of order. And in Tennessee, Rule 15 in the House and Rule 22 in the Senate says that petitions, after a brief statement is filed with the clerk, a petition shall be received and read at the table. So your representative files that with the clerk. That petition is read on the table. We, the people, are demanding term limits. We want term limits. So then the full body will then typically resolve, okay, we're going to go send this to a committee, we're going to discuss it, and then the committee will come back to the full body and make a recommendation, and the whole House votes on it. That is the power of the people. It's not like a bill that goes through committees in the normal process. This goes straight to the House floor. This right, it exposes corruption in government, and it is the remedy. I want to share with my screen with you, and I'm going to show you the announcement of my remonstrance. This literally shook the foundation of corruption in Tennessee, and it's reverberating today still. Can you enable me to share this real quick?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. There you are, sir.
All right, so let me put on the sound here so everybody can see this. This is an announcement before the entire Tennessee House of Representatives.
Ms. Clerk. Petitions and memorials. Ms. Clerk. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Rule 15, we have a brief statement regarding a petition of remonstrance statement filed by Representative Hulsey. It reads, I'm approaching the Tennessee House Chief Clerk on behalf of Mr. John Gentry with this petition and statement. Involves a petition of grievances. 1, unconstitutional and void statutes. 2, failure to address grievances. 3, judicial reform. 4, reinstitution of constitutionally guaranteed rights. Signed, Bud Hulsey, Tennessee State Representative.
So that, when they read that, that was the announcement of my remonstrance. When they read that on the floor, you could hear a pin drop. I mean, literally. There was 98 members in there, and having trouble with my screen. Just a second.
No, you're good. We got you.
Okay, I had to get back to my screen. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So when they read this on the floor, look, you could literally hear a pin drop for 10 seconds. They were like, what just happened? And I'll tell you what happened, Jeremy. The voice and power inherent in the people just woke up. This is how we get it done. These rules and this right works in our legislative houses at the state level, and it is also in our United States Congress. And let me tell you how powerful this is. In the 2020 election, at the end of that, President Trump called on his supporters to go to Washington, D.C. to protest what he believed was a fraudulent election. He had previously filed lawsuits in various state courts, and those lawsuits were dismissed, and they said, you don't have standing. Because there is no harm. Maybe there was fraud, but it didn't affect the outcome of the election. So you don't have standing, you don't have harm, so we're going to dismiss your case. Those were, in my opinion, corrupt decisions from corrupt judges because we have no check of one branch over the other of our judiciary. But here's what could have happened and what should have happened is if President Trump had called on his supporters to co-remonstrate with him to the United States House of Representatives, and he filled out a remonstrance and said, we have a grievance. We believe that there was fraud. We have all these witnesses, affidavits, evidence, video. And the redress that we want is we want an audit of these battleground states. That petition would have been read on the floor of the United States House of Representatives, referred to committee, deliberate on how they're going to do it, listen to the witnesses, and Trump's evidence would have at least been heard. And we would have settled the question, was there not fraud in the 2020 election? But because this right is oppressed, nobody knows how to use it. In the Tennessee Court of Appeals, in a mandamus case I filed, the Court of Appeals cited a law review article. It was written back in the 60s. And in that article, they said common and frequent petition. Petitions used to be common and they used to be frequent. And they, without the threat of force, this is just people coming peacefully saying we were petitioning or we're remonstrating. And it took the place of prolonged discontent and a long list of grievances at the point of a sword. If we do not restore this right, we are going to be aggrieving to government under arms. Eventually, we're going to come to that point in this country. I believe we've already become very close. It has to be restored. And so I'm fighting for this every day in Tennessee. I'm working to raise awareness across this country. I know you're out of New Hampshire. There's a gentleman, Richard Daniel, is fighting in the New Hampshire legislative houses trying to restore this right in New Hampshire, and other people are working on it in other states. And thank you so much for allowing me on your show to get this out to the people. Everybody has to start fighting for this. This right is more powerful than the right to bear arms. When I petitioned the Tennessee General Assembly by remonstrance, several corrupt judges were removed from office. I did that as a single citizen.
So hold on, John. So you're telling me that when you stood up and you used your rights that most people don't know that they have when it comes to this kind of stuff. And this is why I brought you on. Now, usually when I bring guests on, we get some people dropping off because, some people just aren't interested. But I want people to be interested in this because people always ask, how can I fight? How can I stand up? What can I do? And this is the kind of stuff that people can do. This is why I wanted you on so badly. But you're telling me as a result of what you did, you got judges removed? Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely. The entire membership of the Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct, they were removed from office.
Wow.
All of them. Because they were grossly negligent. They were aiding and abetting rights violations by protecting corrupt judges. Since its inception, that agency had never once recommended removal or impeachment of a single judge, despite admitted rampant corruption in our judiciary. And with that stroke of a pen remonstrating to the Tennessee General Assembly, they're like, this has gotten out of hand. They threw them all out of office. They reconstituted that board and they added 6 citizens to the Tennessee Board of Judicial Conduct.
Wow.
Where it used to be all judges. That is the power inherent in us. People, this is how we take that power from government, that they stop talking for us and we start speaking for ourselves.
Amen.
In our legislative houses.
Amen. John, so somebody's asking me here, how do we do this in our state? So instead of, because we're limited on time here, can you tell people where they can get a hold of you, how they can get a hold of you so that you can help them do something similar in their states? Because there's people out there that are watching right now that are hungry for knowledge, and they just don't know where to go or what to do, but they have the courage. And sir, your courage is contagious. Can you tell people where they can go to at least have conversation with you so that you can help them do this right in their state, sir?
Absolutely. My website is We the People, V as in Victor, 50.com. We the People, V50.com. That's my website. There's a link to my social media pages on there. If you go on my Facebook, I respond. I literally respond to every person that comments on there. You can message me through my Facebook page. You can also contact me through email. I will help people. This process is very simple. You can get a group of people together and that are like-minded. You find somebody that can articulate for you, and you cite your state constitution. Every state constitution says that you have a right to petition for redress of grievance, and in Tennessee, or other proper purpose. It doesn't have to be a grievance. And you can do it by address or remonstrance in Tennessee and several other states. We have a constitutional right to stand in front of the General Assembly and state our grievances or petition them for reforms or favor that we want with government.
Now, let me ask you, John, if for some reason, or for some, if people come together and help you and you won, let's say you won governor for Tennessee. Let's just say in a perfect world, you're sitting in there, you win, you get, you get behind that beautiful desk in Tennessee and you're the governor. I know you'd be a warrior for the people. I know that already. Would you be a warrior for President Trump if he was to be back in the White House at the same time you were governor?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no choice better right now than President Trump. He did some great things for this country. Unfortunately, he didn't understand this right that he could have exercised.
I agree.
And I think, he relies too much on attorneys.
I agree.
But he did incredible things for this country. That's all being undone right now.
No, I agree. Okay, here's another question for you, and then we'll kind of wrap up and let you go. Governor Bill Lee, that's your governor now, right, in Tennessee? That's his name, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What do you think of him? Do you think that he is doing a good job? And what would you do differently than a Governor Bill Lee in Tennessee?
Thanks for that question. No, he's not doing a good job. Number one, our form of government has been unlawfully altered, and judges are holding expressly prohibited offices of trust in violation of the state constitution. That's an unlawful alteration of our form of government, and it's the root of corruption. He literally rubber stamps almost all of the legislation that comes through the Tennessee General Assembly. And most of that legislation is garbage, pretended legislation for special interest and for corrupt purpose. I will not sign legislation unless it adheres to the provisions of state and federal constitution and is enacted for the benefit of the people, which would knock out about 90% of the garbage legislation that comes out of our General Assembly. He issued closure of businesses, and he assigned power that he does not have to issue order of mask mandates in this state. Our Tennessee Constitution says that martial law in the sense of unrestricted power, and that's what mask mandates are. They're unrestricted power. And they said by military officers or others is governors, mayors, county executives, is not confided. It is inconsistent with the principles of a free government, and it is not confided to any department of this state. Bill Lee was acting in express violation of the Tennessee Constitution. He's constitutionally incompetent.
Wow. Well said. Sir, one more time before we let you go, can you please again tell people not only your website, slow so they can write it down, but also where they can get a hold of you on social media so that they can reach out to you, so that you can educate people on their rights that the swamp on both sides has pushed down deep, so that people don't know it. Can you please tell people where to find you, how to contact you, so that you can help them understand, like you helped me in our conversation earlier?
Absolutely. So on Facebook, if you type in @Gentry, the number 4 the people, @Gentry for the people, you'll find my candidate page on Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. I've spent a lot of time researching the right of petition, researching what is our proper form of government. And as you said earlier in your show, we're a republic. But we are not operating as a republic right now. We're operating as an oligarchy of political elites. But if you go on to @Gentry for the people on Facebook, and my website, We the People, V as in Victor, 50.com.
Well, John, I want to thank you very much. I want you to get together with the Tennessee Freedom Force. Again, I am not, at this point, I don't know enough about Governor Bill Lee, but what I will say is that I respect you, sir, for standing up for people's rights. There's very few people out there that say they're politicians that actually care about people's rights. You clearly do. I want to thank you, sir, for coming on Live from America. You're welcome here anytime, and I'm sure that we will get a hold of you in the future. Sir, God bless you. Thank you so very much, and have a wonderful day, John, okay?
Thank you, Jeremy, and thanks to the viewers out there taking time.
All right. God bless you, sir. Thank you so very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there is John Gentry, and I got to say, the man, he's got guts. He's got courage, and courage is needed. Courage is contagious. Courage is exactly what this country needs. Now,